Hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder. Today I want to have a first look, first impressions on the HMS Dido, or Dido, however you want to call it. And it is the new British light cruiser at a battle rating of 5.3 following the HMS Enterprise. Now the HMS Enterprise is not the world's greatest fighting ship there, and many reasons going into this. But the HMS Dido, or Dido, I want to call it Dido, is a bit different in this respect. And I think it is a more versatile, more durable ship. That has to do with it having 10 5.25-inch guns in 5 triple turrets, 3 super firing in the front, and that looks cool. Furthermore, the armor, well, it looks weird. We have here the broadside armor, 75mm, protecting the machinery, just a 25mm bulkhead, not very impressive. Deck armor also 51 and 25, it's okay-ish. And then we also have here those strange underwater platings of 76mm. This is because the Amorak, and I'm not quite sure if you can see it, is buried way underwater. So where the unit test drive is here, that's the waterline, and so this is very deep underwater, and so the 76mm further enhances the protection together with the water. However, you still have the threat from long range plunging fire, obviously, and that happens especially versus the HMS Köln. I love to snipe an HMS Dido once in a while, but also if you think you can go bow in, because the Amorak is so long, a shell doesn't even have the strongest or flattest trajectory to go in there and still hit the back of the Amorak, even at close quarters. So counterintuitively, you have to give broadside and just hope for the best. So to here shorten the travel distance of the shell within your ship, even if it explodes. So you take a lot of punishment, and your guns are only 133mm. That is not the greatest caliber. That is not 6-inch or 5.9-inch caliber that you have to face with the Americans or also the Germans, of course. So there is this. It's not the speediest cruiser, but it's certainly not slow. At the anti-aircraft, aside from here the dual-purpose armament, which is, I guess, from the King George V class, you can work with it, but the secondaries, the torpedoes, the rest is not really impressive. And I have a crazy battle where things went really strange, and I have to point out here the ammunition. First of all, you standard HE, not bad, but it's more like destroyer-like. Then we also have the proximity fuse, which is very important versus aircraft attacks, and then obviously the 5.25-inch Mark II semi-armor piercing. Your penetration power is like 100mm less than the one on the HMS Köln, but also the bursting charge is not the greatest, slow muzzle velocity, not the greatest precision, but you try to, counter this with the amount of guns that you have and the rate of fire. Not every time this works out in your favor, but without further ado, let's have a look at the ship in battle. So here we are, and at first, like usual, which I highly recommend, empty your torpedo tubes. Don't ask questions, don't ask why, just do it. If you wanna know why, you wanna watch my first video on the HMS Köln, which is called Empty Your Torpedo Tubes, where you really see very often why I recommend this. So with that going out of the way, the ship is actually pretty unstable, it feels like, and it's not the world's fastest. And yeah, you can see how it leans to one and the other side. What is really cool is the head-on firepower. I have to give it that. 6 shells firing straight forward, because very often you have to charge the enemy. If you lose the frontal Amorak and it doesn't blow up your ship immediately, to work with only the back turrets is pretty nasty. Furthermore, even a patrol boat coming screaming around the corner can punch relatively easy through the 38.1mm of rolled homogeneous armor with 40mm Bofors. With 20mm, I think the ship is well protected enough. Woohoo! And so you can take this a little bit better. The 38mm are okay-ish when it comes to absorbing also HE hits to the front, and they will not automatically splash you down. So first salvo out, and we have to see how long the shells travel through the air, how steep the plunging fire is, how accurate the guns are. And here the island screws a little bit with my aiming, so this is why the shells don't really land there where I want them to be. But you can see also the dispersion pattern is not the world's greatest. The damage output as well is not too impressive for a light cruiser. This is what the ship actually shares with the Krasny Krim, and that is another ship that I have to have a look into. But honestly, I think the ship just feels not that punchy. At close quarters, the story is quite a bit different. Again, your Amarak and then the amount of turrets that you have, they are pretty difficult to handle for the enemy. If you come at long range fire from a HMS Köln, or if you come under long range fire from a HMS Köln rather, then just do evasive actions, try to snipe its back turrets, but don't really hope for a decisive blow. Another fact is that the ship can carry an impressive amount of ammunition with it. We're talking about 3,400 rounds, but you only can carry 500 armor piercing and 500 proximity fuse shells with you, so that's just a third of your overall ammunition capacity, which is still a lot. But you have to see it like this, that's just 100 rounds per gun. That is not bad, to be honest, and a lot of people will not even consume that amount. But it's just the fact that the ammunition is also not that cheap. You look, if you have to calculate it, 50 rounds per shot. So per salvo, you're dishing out 500 silver lines. And that per salvo, every 7.5 seconds, oof, okay. So there we have a destroyer, semi-armor piercing out, and then I got a little bit of lag spike and my hacks work perfectly and we blow him up. I'm serious, that was a lag, but the strangeness of this game now will go on for the entirety of the battle, especially since I got a lot of the kills when I didn't look at the enemy. Later on this will get pretty hilarious. So next target is in my sights, and we try to actually now get good hits in, but he's doing evasive actions. I'm playing here a little bit with my speed and my course, so that means that I have to adjust for my speed, my course correction, my angle correction, and then also for the enemy destroyers course and speed changes. And you can see that's not really working out that well. Now I give here more broadside because I think I'd rather lose my propulsion than my ammo rack. And there you can see how unsatisfying it is at times to shoot with those guns. And now it's not a ping or a lag issue. Semi-armor piercing versus destroyers, either you hit the ammo rack or you do more damage with the high explosive. The reason why I take the proximity fuse here instead of the HE, where I could use many more shells, is the fact I have both the same amount of TNT filler. And yeah, that was now a hit on a main gun turret, and it counted as an ammo rack. I'm confused. I have no idea what happened. Maybe one of the shells that being loaded ignited and flashed down into the ammo rack. I got nothing. But you know, it's getting better. It's getting better with every single salvo. So that looks like an enemy Dido, semi-armor piercing out, and we hit the torpedo tubes. Interesting. So much for emptying your torpedo tubes. I hope I said it now often enough. Actually, I see a lot of players now doing that, but that was a rather lucky hit, wasn't it? But I take it because he could easily snipe my ammo rack as easily as I could his with the plunging fire. Again, at short ranges you have more part of plunging fire in your shell trajectory than really, you know, easy, straightforward firepower. So in the case of the HMS Dido fighting another HMS Dido or Dido, it actually comes down to who gets the decisive torpedo tube snipe first, and in this case it was me. And if he hits my torpedo tubes or not doesn't really matter, since mine are empty. So that is a KMS Köln. Semi-armor piercing shells are out, and I think, oh, so much for your turtle bag. That was the rear ammo rack. It is much bigger. You also have a higher chance of knocking out a turret if you shoot in this area. So I shot there. That I got here with the first hit an ammo rack, or with one of the first hits an ammo rack. Again, very, very lucky. This is not representative for the ship. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. So we are already now 11 minutes into the game, into the video, and you can see I still haven't reached one of the capture points. Let's see if we can change this. There is another ship, and now I want to actually turn into and want to go for A. That is my plan, but I obviously need to take care here of this. I don't know what it is. That looks like the American destroyer. Yeah, it's the American destroyer with the dual purpose double gun turrets, which I made a ship review about. I'm obviously talking here about the very impressive Sumner. It's rather impressive how easy you can counter this ship. And again, we get screwed here, and that is a KMS Emden in the background, so I need to go the hell out of there. So we knocked out one of his turrets. Another salvo is going out. It's still not very looking good. It's overleading. Come on. That looks much better. That looks much better. Much more where I aimed it. Thank you very much. That was another ammo rack. Yes, it was lucky, but there you could see the salvo from the KMS Emden came in. Half my engine, a quarter of my propulsion, and also one of my gun turrets knocked out in one salvo. So I'm just limping here behind the island, trying my best, and again I aim for the frontal ammo rack, but then I have to see how the shots fall because of the different speed of our ships. Come on, disable his guns, anything. I'm literally dead in the water here. Huge repair time, and I just do little to no damage. But you know, summer armor piercing is all that you need in your life because it just deals the damage. So that's first blood, fuel tank and smoke funnel. That will drop a little bit his smoke. Maybe he's on fire, or that drops his speed, and I can take better aim. So let's see, another destroyer is coming in, trying to put some pressure away from me. Now B got contested. Let's aim a little bit more in the front. Come on, come on. I need that kill, or at least a disabling salvo. Bit more in the front. I'm on fire again. This ship burns a lot as well. And I'm turning away. And then it got an ammo rack detonation. So call it hacks, but oh god. Oh, that was that is another USS Sumner, and I need to try to snipe here. Why is he not shooting me? Is he actually shooting torpedoes at me? Yes, he is. But he only got one away. I'm already turning away. If I would have turned in, it would have been as good as well if he launched just only one. But you know, the USS Sumner has quite a lot of torpedoes, so I anticipated here a torpedo spread. And if you turn away in War Thunder, the torpedo speed is not as crazy as in other games, so you can handle it better. So that was an impressive fight right there with some hilarious lucky shots. And there is another ship. Let's see what we can do about him. And their shells don't go anywhere near where I want them to go, so let's correct. The problem is that the destroyer now is going behind an enemy enemy island. Shoot the island! No, behind an island, which screws a little bit with my aiming, and also the plunging fire is not that great that I can deliberately aim for the underwater citadel by shooting short. Also, I was sailing a little bit away, but that's not the issue. See, the problem is I'm shooting here armor piercing. I should switch here to the high explosive or the proximity fuse, and the warning time against enemy aircraft is just way too short. So by the time I get the warning and my, 40 millimeters open up, it's way too late. Because the plane sneaked just over the island, and despite getting a critical hit into there is just nothing that I can do versus this torpedo, and much fun I had. And that attack with a torpedo bomber cost me my survivor, so 35,800 civil lines and 5,300 vehicle research. So there is this. That's the HMS Dido for first impressions. A ship that has its moments. Crazy semi-armor piercing, which is rather unreliable. Nevertheless, I think the ship has potential. But to find the sweet spot is the difficult part. That's it for me today. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Please give this video a like if you did. Subscribe if you want to see more. And we'll see each other in the skies, on the battlefields, and on the waves of War Thunder.